Okay, ladies, so I'm going to begin book 22 of the Odyssey. I'm starting with line 1, and I'm going to read about 3 sets of pages, maybe going up to line 150 something, 160 something. So follow along as we go. Now, shrugging off his rags, the wiliest fighter of the islands leapt and stood on the broad door-sill, his own bow in his hand. He poured out at his feet a rain of arrows from the quiver and spoke to the crowd. "So much for that. Your clean-cut game is over. Now watch me hit a target that no man has hit before. If I can make this shot, help me, Apollo." He drew to his fist the cruel head of an arrow for Antinous, just as the young man leaned to lift his beautiful drinking cup, embossed, two-handled, golden. The cup was in his fingers. The wine was even at his lips. And did he dream of death? How could he? In that revelry amid the throng of friends, who would imagine a single foe, though a strong foe indeed, could dare to bring death's pain on him and darkness on his eyes? Odysseus's arrow hit him under the chin and punched up to the feathers through his throat. Backward and down he went, letting the wine cup fall from his shocked hand. Like pipes his nostrils jetted crimson runnels, a river of mortal red, and one last kick upset the table, knocking the bread and meat to soak the dusty blood. Oh, this is so good. Remember the last time we read together was the end of book 21, where Odysseus, as a beggar, took the bow that Penelope allowed him to take, and he strung the bow and shot the shot that basically could have won the contest for any of the suitors. And remember what I said about the gut nagging feeling in their bellies, right? So this is the continuation of that. And also remember that um, Homer had told us, foreshadowed for us, that Antinous would be the first one to die, and he would be the first one to die by the hand of Odysseus, hand meaning he's the guy who shot the arrow, and it goes right through his throat. We knew this was happening, and here it is happening. Terrific. Okay, so let's look at, I made this one a little bit bigger. Follow along at the top. Now, as they craned to see their champion where he lay, the suitors jostled and uproared down the hall, everyone on his feet. Wildly they turned and scanned the walls and the long room for arms. But not a shield, not a good ashen spear was there for a man to take and throw. All they could do was yell in outrage at Odysseus. "Foul to shoot at a man! That was your last shot. Your own throat would be slit for this. Our finest lad is down. You killed the best on Ithaca. Buzzards would tear your eyes out." For they imagined, as they wished, that it was a wild shot, an unintended killing. Fools not to comprehend that they were already in the grip of death. But glaring under his brows, Odysseus answered, "You yellow dogs, you thought I'd never make it home from the land of Troy? You took my house to plunder, twisted my maids to serve your beds. You dared bid for my wife while I was still alive. Contempt was all you had for the gods who rule wide heaven. Contempt for what men say of you hereafter. Your last hour has come. You die in blood." As they all took this in, sickly green fear pulled at their entrails, and their eyes flickered, looking for some hatch or hideaway from death. Eurymachus alone could speak. He said, "If you are Odysseus of Ithaca, come back. All that you say these men have done is true. Rash actions, many here, more in the countryside. But here he lies, the man who caused them all. Antinous was the ringleader. He whipped us on to do these things. He cared less for our marriage than for the power Cronion had denied him as king of Ithaca. For that he tried to trap your son and would have him killed." Okay. Oh, it's also good. Obviously, take note of what I have written here for you. But what we have here is, so Antinous is dead by the top of this page, and all of the other suitors are obviously shocked and scared and wondering what in the heck is happening. Remember, all the doors are have locked them in here. So they start kind of yelling at at this old man beggar. And then Odysseus has his say, right? He's irate, he's furious. He's like, how dare you? How dare you try to plunder my house and take my wife? This is it. It's over. You're all done. I'm going to kill you all. Eurymachus, always the schemer, right? He basically says, well, you got the leader, Antinous. You killed him. You're right. He was the leader. He made us do all of this. You can't blame us for this. You must let us go. He made us do this. Haha, not today. Not today, Eurymachus. Not today. All right, let's look at the other side here. We'll start at the top. He is dead now and has his portion. Spare your own people. This is still Eurymachus talking. As for ourselves, we'll make restitution of wine and meat consumed and add each one a tithe of 20 oxen with gifts of bronze and gold to warm your heart. Meanwhile, we cannot blame you for your anger. Odysseus glowered under his black brows and said, not for the whole treasure of your fathers, all you enjoy, lands, flocks, or any gold put up by others, would I hold my hand. There will be killing to the scores paid. You forced yourselves upon this house. Fight your way out, or run for it if you think you'll escape death. I doubt one man of you skins by. They felt their knees fail and their hearts, but heard Eurymachus for the last time rallying them. Friends, he said, the man is implacable. Now that he's got his hand on a bow and quiver, he'll shoot from the big doorstone there until he kills us to the last man. Fight, I say. Let's remember the joy of it. Swords out. Hold up your tables to deflect his arrows. After me, everyone. Rush him where he stands. If we can budge him from that front door, if we can pass into the town, we'll call out men to chase him. This fellow with his bow will shoot no more. He drew his own sword as he spoke, a broadsword of fine bronze, honed like a razor on either edge. Then, crying hoarse and loud, he hurled himself at Odysseus. But the kingly man let fly an arrow at that instant, and the quivering feathered butt sprang to the nipple of his breast as the barb stuck in his liver. Okay, that's 2 down, right? So when we go back and look at the top of this page, he's continuing. I guess I shouldn't have stopped there, but he was continuing his speech about sparing them. We'll pay you back. We'll pay you all your money back. We'll pay you in oxen and gold. And we understand you're mad, but we never killed anybody. We never killed anybody. But Odysseus is beyond angry, and he says, forget it. I'm not going to ease up. I'm not going to give you a break. I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to basically count to 3, and then I'm going to try and kill you all. So they all start to freak out, and Eurymachus begins to kind of rally the men. He says he's going to kill us. So let's get a plan together. If he just stands there shooting arrows, we're in a locked room. He's going to get us. So Eurymachus says, let's rush him. Let's try and get it from him. Try and get out of this room. And then he draws his sword and begins to run. And at that, Odysseus takes another arrow, buries it right through his chest. Boom, Eurymachus, dead too. Okay, I'm going to read this too. This is kind of a long one. The bright broadsword clanged down. He lurched and fell aside, pitching across the table. His cup, his breast, and meat were split and scattered far and wide, and his head slammed on the ground. Revulsion, anger in his heart with both feet kicking out, he downed his chair while the shrouding wave of mist closed on his eyes. Okay, so this, of course, is just this dramatic fall to death that Eurymachus has. Now we have another suitor, Amphinomus, now came running at Odysseus, broadsword naked in his hand. He thought to make the great soldier give way at the door, but with a spear throw from behind, Telemachus hits him between the shoulders, and the lance head drove clear through his chest. He left his feet and fell forward, thudding, forehead against the ground. Telemachus swerved around him, leaving the long dark spear planted in Amphinomus. If he paused to yank it out, someone might jump him from behind or cut him down with a sword at the moment he bent over. So he ran from the tables to his father's side and halted, panting, saying, "Father, let me bring you a shield and a spear, a pair of spears, a helmet. I can arm myself on the run. I'll give outfits to Eumaeus and the cowherd. Better to have equipment." Said Odysseus, "Run then, while I hold them off with arrows as long as the arrows last. When all were gone, and if I'm alone, they can dislodge me." So in this section here, Telemachus kills another suitor, right? Bam, 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 we're going through them. And he says, "I know where the weapons are. I hid them, remember? I will go get some more weapons." So Odysseus says, "Okay." Quick, upon his father's sword, Telemachus ran to the room where the spears and armors lay. He caught up 4 light shields, 4 pair of spears, 4 helms of war hide plumed with flowing manes, and ran back, loaded down to his father's side. Okay, he's bringing all of the equipment back to, remember, Odysseus, Telemachus, the cowherd, Philodeus, and the swineherd, Eumaeus, are all good guys on the same team. All right, last page. He was the first to put a helmet on and slide his bare arm in a buckler strap. The servants armed themselves, and all 3 took their stand beside the master of battle. While he had arrows he aimed and shot, and every shot brought down one of his huddling enemies. But when all barbs had flown from the bowman's fist, he leaned his bow in the bright entryway beside the door and armed a 4-ply shield hard on his shoulder and a crested helm, horse-tailed, nodding, stormy upon his head, then took his tough and bronze-shod spears. So he basically runs out of arrows when he finishes shooting everybody, and he now needs a spear. The suitors who held their feet, no longer under bowshot, could see a window high in recess on the wall, a vent, lighting the passage to the storeroom. This passage had one entry with a door, at the edge of the great hall's threshold, just outside. Odysseus told the swineherd to stand over and guard the door and passage. As he did so, a suitor named Agelaus asked the others, "Who will get a leg up on that window and run to alarm the town? One sharp attack, and this fellow will never shoot again." His answer came from the goatherd Melanthius. "No chance, my lord. The exit in the courtyard is too near them, too narrow. One good man could hold that portal against a crowd. No, let me scale the wall and bring you arms out of the storage chamber. Odysseus and his son put them indoors, I'm sure of it, not outside." I'll read the next, but it's not a full. The goatish goatherd clambered up the wall, toes in the chinks. Okay, so Agelaus is saying, like, let's get somebody out of here. And Melanthios is saying, no, let's go in the storeroom and let's get the weapons and we can fight him. If we can fight him, then we can get out of here and get into the town. So Melanthios, who used to be a guy who worked for Odysseus, he was a goat herd. He now works for the suitors. So he's kind of turned to a bad guy. Okay, so that is the end of the beginning of book 22.